Hey everybody, so we are now solving multi-step algebraic inequalities. And if you want to follow along in your textbook, it's pages 229 to 231. I actually skipped the problem on 229. That's technically 230 to 231. So this is multi-step. We're bringing everything together, okay? So we've got 4/5 x plus 1 is greater than 1 3/5. So first thing that I notice is we have a constant over here that we are going to want to bring over here. We have positive 1, so we're subtracting 1. So we don't need to worry about flipping anything. This is just straight up when we're doing addition and subtraction. We handle it like we would typically when we're solving an inequality. So I have 4/5 x. I don't need to change any inequality signs. And this is nice and easy. 1 3/5 minus 1. So the 1's cancel each other out, and all I have is 3/5 left over. Like easy peasy. Now we have 4/5 x, so we want to get rid of this fractional coefficient. So the way you get rid of the fractional coefficient is to multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 4/5 is 5/4. And now we know 20 over 20 is 1. So we've got x is greater than, and over here we have 1, canceled each other out. So 3 times 1 is 3. X is greater than 3/4. So our value in our solution set is that x just has to be more than 3/4 for this to be true, okay? And instead of doing all the substituting, I'm going to just go straight to graphing here. So if x is greater than 3/4, let's go ahead and put -1. Actually, I'll do halves. I'll do -1/2, 0. And I'll do 1/2, 1, 1.5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got 5 there. All right, so I've got my number line here showing. Now I have x is greater than 3/4. So I'm going to go between my 1/2 and my 1. Put my circle there. X is greater than 3/4, which means it's headed away from 0, where the number line is going to get greater in value. So here is my solution set graphed here to show that x is greater than 3/4. And I probably should have made this in quarters and not halves, but you get the point. But if you were doing it on your own, I would probably pick a fractional amount that lines up with the solution set of 3/4. Okay, so over here, we have 9 minus 2/10 a is greater than or equal to 21. So the first thing we're going to do is move this constant over here, right? Why bother moving the variable? Because there's no other variables that we need to combine it with. So it makes sense. Let's just go ahead and move our constant. So if we are going to get rid of positive 9, that means we're going to subtract 9. So now I have -2/10 a is greater than or equal to, and 21 minus 9 is 12, okay? So -2a is greater than or equal to 12. So now we have -2/10. So we are trying to isolate the variable. So we're going to divide -2/10 by -2/10. So we get a positive a. But if we divide by -2/10 on the left of the inequality, we need to divide by -2/10 on the right. So as we go to rewrite this, this is a, right? Because we've gotten rid of our coefficient. Now we need to flip our inequality because we divided by a negative. So we needed to flip our inequality. So now a is less than or equal to, and we need to divide by 0.2. So we end up getting that a is less than or equal to -60, because a positive divided by a negative is negative, and 2/10 goes into 12 60 times, okay? Which makes sense because it goes into 1 5 times. So if you do 5 times 12, you get 60. So that answer makes sense. Of course, if you were doing this for the algebra placement test, I would tell you come up with some possible values to substitute into the solution, for the solution set to substitute into the original inequality. But right now, today, we are just going to move towards graphing. So A is less than or equal to negative 60. So less than or equal to. So negative 60. So negative 60, which means I have a negative 59. And then I've got negative 61, negative 62, negative 63. So A is less than or equal to negative 60. So I put my circle above negative 60. It isn't equal to, so I'm going to fill in my circle. And to show that it's less than negative 60, that means it has to get farther away from the 0, right? So our line is going to go in that direction. And of course, it does match up with the back of the alligator's face, right, or mouth, okay? The last one we have is negative 2a plus 3 is less than negative 7 minus a. Now, in this instance, we do have variables on both sides. So you know that when you have variables on both sides, you're going to need to combine, right? Combine them onto one side so that we can combine like terms and isolate the variable. You know my rule. Move the coefficient with the smaller value. So this is a little trickier because you get negative 2a and negative a. Well, which one has the smaller value? Well, negative 2 is more negative than negative 1, right? Negative 2 is more negative. It's farther away from 0 than negative 1. So we're actually going to move this baby. Negative 2a, so the opposite of negative 2a is positive 2a, positive 2a over here. So now I have 3 is less than negative 7, and then positive 2a, negative a plus 2a. We're going to do absolute value. 2 minus 1 is 1, so 1a, and it takes on the number with the greater absolute value, which is the positive. So we have positive a. So 3 is less than negative 7 plus a. Now, to get rid of this constant, we're going to add 7. Add 7. So now we have 10 is less than a. And here, just because it's easy and I didn't substitute for the other ones, let's just see if we did it correctly. So this is our solution set, right? When we substitute values for the solution set into the original inequality. So right now, I'm just looking for possible values that would show, and actually, I've told you guys you should reverse, put A is greater than 10. So remember, these mean the same thing. 10 is less than A is the same as A is greater than 10. I've just moved the variable on the left. So I want a variable that's greater than 10. So I'm going to go with 12, 15, and 20. Do you agree with me? Those are all greater than 10? All right. So we'll substitute them into the original inequality. All right. So if I substitute 12 in, that becomes negative 24, right? Negative 12 times negative 2 times positive 12 is negative 24 plus 3 is less than negative 7 minus 12. This would be negative 21 is less than negative 7 minus 12 is actually negative 7 plus negative 12, which is negative 19. And negative 21 is less than negative 19, or negative 19 is greater than negative 21, right? Because it's less negative. So we see that one works. All right, let's try another one. Negative 2 times 15 plus 3 is less than negative 7 minus 15. So this is negative 30 plus 3 is less than this, we know is negative 27 is less than, and then this is negative 22. And that's true. Negative 27 is less than negative 22. Negative 22 is greater than negative 27. So that worked. Last one, let's substitute in 20. And this becomes negative 40 plus 3 is less than negative 7 minus 20, which is going to be negative. So this is negative 37 is less than negative 27, which is true. Negative 27 is less negative than negative 37. Negative 37 is less than negative 27. So we did that one correctly as well. Woohoo! Nice job. Now you're going to do some on your own. Have fun with this.